All right, guys, let me make sure I'm good to go. Got a freaking House of the Dragon preview. Am I the only one watching? No. Got a freaking House of the Dragon preview. Am I the only one watching? No. Freaking House of the Dragon preview. Okay. We're good to go. Alabama knocks off Arkansas 49-26 down in Fayetteville. Bit of a crazy game, as dog sits behind me. A crazy game. Alabama jumped out, of course, to a huge 28-0 lead, but in the midst of that, Bryce Young goes down. Shoulder injury he got sliding when he was trying to make a play. And who knows? Jade Milroe came in, led a couple of touchdown drives right off the bat. One was a short field due to a punt return by Kool-Aid McKinstry. But after that, the Alabama offense really, really struggled. And then the fourth quarter came, and 3 70-yard runs, 2 by Jahmyr Gibbs, who was unbelievable. So let's break it down. Let's talk about it. I'm Zach Ramilius here at the Voice of College Football SEC, Voice of College Football Alabama. We'll be here for the next 40-ish minutes or so talking about this game. Leave your comments. Leave your thoughts. This dog behind me is 115 pounds, by the way. Leave your thoughts, and let's just discuss this game. First off, the thing that was at the start of the game, let's obviously start there. The freshman receivers for Alabama made their presence known. They made their presence known. Prentice and Bond, each with a couple huge plays in the first quarter after the Bryce Young interception. And it was pretty clear on that first drive, especially, Alabama wasn't going to have issues with offense with Bryce Young on the field. Now he got taken off the field. We have different problems. And we've talked about that. When Milroe has come into games, Utah State, Vanderbilt, these blowouts, he's better than he was last year as a passer, but he's still not polished. If Bryce Young's out for any length of time, there could be some issues, and I wouldn't be shocked if they went to Ty Simpson. We have our first comment for the love of the burn. O-line, fourth quarter. Yeah, they straight up dominated. That was still a game. There's still a game in the fourth quarter. It was 28-23, and the O-line got push. Gibbs and Milroe found lanes. They were incredible. Good for them. After, the O-line's gotten a lot of questions, and they showed out in the fourth quarter today. Bama moves to 2-0 in the SEC, 5-0 overall. Got Texas A&M in a big one next week. And this was going to be the tough stretch. They got Tennessee, they got Texas A&M, and they got Arkansas. Well, they won the road one today. And give a lot of credit to Arkansas, man. I know Bryce Young got taken out of the game, and that's probably why it was kept at 28-0. But against that Bama defense, they fought back. KJ Jefferson is a heck of an athlete. Not very polished as a thrower, in my opinion. But, Sanders, good game. They had their moments. The onside kick was extremely well done and well run by them. It just wasn't enough to overcome Alabama as we got into the fourth quarter. Anything I like is Roll Tide stats, but I try to get these up quickly. Just so I can talk to you guys, but they haven't pulled up their live stats. So I don't have defensive stats on me right now. But the defensive line for Alabama put in the work in the first quarter. And also the second quarter too. Until that last drive of the half, when Arkansas was able to put up 7 points and kind of start gaining some momentum, The defensive line for Alabama was putting in, and the corners were doing great. All in all, a really solid first half. Second half comes around. Bryles, they make some adjustments. The onside kick, they had a couple short fields, and they scored some points. Arkansas is a pretty talented team. The thing that with Arkansas, though, and it's been the issue since Barry Odom's been there, and you can listen to some other people, and they'll talk about this. When Arkansas is playing downhill, they're pretty good. It's a really good defense. The issue becomes when you get them in space, especially now that since Catalan's out, they're and in the first half with these talented freshmen, they put them in space, put them on single coverage, put them in zone coverage. I mean, the Oklahoma safeties look way more lost than Arkansas's did today, but Arkansas's didn't look great at all. We hope for Bryce Young's okay. If Milroe comes in, and Danielson and Nestler talked about this, they have a package for him. It's more of a Jalen Hurts style offense, more zone reads, more not classic RPOs, a lot more screen, and maybe that works a little bit better when they have a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs who on any given play can go for miles. It feels like in the fourth quarter, he was unbelievable. I'm just bringing up the play-by-play right now. 76-yard run for a touchdown, 72-yard run for a touchdown. The O-line opened up those holes, and Gibbs just wham. And we talked about with Gibbs is he carried Georgia Tech to wins last year, or kept them in games when they had no right, because he's that good. And we silently saw it today in the running game. As a pass-catching threat, he's always been really solid. Probably Bryce Young's favorite target this year. Today he showed out with the runs. And granted, he had a total of 208 yards today, if I read that right. 206 yards. And 146 of it came on 2 plays out of 16 carries. But that's what Jahmyr Gibbs brings in offense, is the home run threat whenever he touches the ball. He can just go. And he did it twice to Arkansas in the fourth quarter. And Jalen Milroe, how about that run from the kid? I mean, he grew up on that play because he struggled. The offense struggled. He's not a very polished thrower. And Arkansas just played downhill. And they're good at that. Barry Odom's defenses are good at playing downhill. And it didn't work for obvious reasons. When Bryce Young's in the game and these receivers are getting one-on-ones, and they're too talented to get one-on-ones, and Bryce Young's too good. Looking around a bit in the SEC. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, talk, guys. I mean, we're here talking about this game. It was an entertaining game. Arkansas, a lot of drama. Bryce Young goes out. Arkansas starts to fight and get back into it. How do I have sound here? You're hearing the highlight, and I'm trying to cut it. Come on. Oh, that's my laptop. Oops. I didn't know where that was coming from. My fault. I mean, Mizzou's starting off against Georgia pretty decently. Wow, Mississippi State put up 42. Mississippi State's going to be a problem in a few weeks, guys, for this Crimson Tide team, because they just put the ball in space and make things happen. But what else can you say about this Alabama game? I mean, I wish I had live stats. Maybe Arkansas had live stats. Alabama experienced some adversity today. And here's the thing, too. How many times the last 2 years have we seen Alabama go on the road, play a team that's not as good as them? Texas, Texas A&M last year. Arkansas was a home game. LSU was a home game. But some of these games, and they just haven't blown these teams out, and that's been the hallmark of the great Saban teams, is they just blow teams out of the water. And they went up, and if Bryce Young stays in, that game's probably a blowout. Because Alabama probably scores a few more times. But Arkansas got back into it, and it's like, oh, God, here comes another nail-biter on the road for Alabama. No. Didn't have to be a nail-biter. The second running game took over. We got a comment from Ray Hughes. Bama looked great with the running game. Just hope Bryce is okay. Yeah, second half, fourth quarter, yeah, the offensive line really controlled the game, which is the first time Alabama's done that against a quality opponent since 2020. Because last year the O-line had its issues. No, they manhandled the Razorback defense up front. And if there's any Arkansas fans in here, you guys fall to 3-2. Too tough. I mean, a tough loss to Texas A&M. And then, of course, the loss today to Alabama. Just a crazy day. Oh, heavens. Omazi's going to get killed. Poor them. But, yeah, what are your guys' thoughts? I mean, the two main thoughts today have been about the offensive line and how excellent they were in the fourth quarter especially. And, even the first half, they were getting runs. The thing Arkansas was doing in the first half was they're playing up. They're playing a bunch of guys up in the box. And they were, okay, have your receivers who have struggled this year, for the Alabama fans that have been here with me all year, they said those receivers have been struggling. Tremaine Burton, the freshman, Prentice, whoever, beat us one-on-one. And what did Alabama do? Beat them one-on-one. And it made all the difference in the first half. And if Bryce Young had stayed in, I think you would have seen Alabama have to play back, or Arkansas have to play more of a cushion, and that would open up running lanes. Because the offensive line, considering how many people were in the box consistently, played pretty well in the first half too. Razorback fan in here, go Hogs, dang it. Yeah, valiant effort from the Razorbacks, though. Down 28-0. Nothing had worked offensively. No runs. KJ Jefferson doing whatever. Just hadn't worked. When you play out, the thing I didn't like from Arkansas today was it felt like a couple times they played it way too safe. Way, 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 way too safe. Let me pull up the drive chart real quick to give a couple examples. Punt. Okay. You punted again. Okay, 4th and 1 at the 34. Already down a touchdown. Alabama had 2 drives where they had moved the ball pretty easily. And you punted on 4th and 1. Or you took a penalty for delay a game and then punted. You have KJ Jefferson. You should have gone for that. The other one was it was 28-14. I believe it was 28-14. Let me see. Yes. And you kicked the field goal, 4th and goal at the 4. That can't happen. If you're going to beat a team like Alabama, even with a backup quarterback in, you have to play aggressive. And the weird thing was that Arkansas did in spots. The onside kick, for instance, which was beautifully executed. I don't quite know what Alabama's coverage was on that, but it worked out well for Razorbacks. They come down, they score. They showed a lot of fight. Without Jalen Cattle on that secondary is pretty bad. Maybe the word's mediocre. It's pretty bad. The good news is there's not a lot of teams in Arkansas's future, and we'll move back to Alabama here in a second. Speaking of Arkansas, let me see if they have their live stats up. Football schedule. Ooh, they do have live stats. Okay. But going forward, you have Mississippi State next week can burn you with a pass game. BYU can burn you with their pass game, but then they got Auburn, who can't. LSU really can't. Ole Miss isn't a great pass team, and Mizzou isn't either. So you have an opportunity here. And yes, going 9-3. Maybe going 9-3, 8-4 isn't what they wanted out of this year. They had bigger and better ideas. But think about where Arkansas was when Sam Pittman got there, and then back-to-back 8-4 years. Superstar safety goes out. It'll be okay. They're still in a good spot. Arkansas's live stats are. They have defense. Oh, you guys. Oh, they do. Okay, but Alabama on defense. Dallas Turner, 2.5 tackles for a loss. Where is Will Anderson? Will Anderson, a tackle and a half for a loss, half a sack. Otis had a sack. Moody had a sack. And then on the Arkansas side, they only had 4 tackles for a loss. Alabama had 9. And when you can put a team like Arkansas, who don't have Burks anymore. They have some good wide receivers. Hazelwood's fine. But when they don't have that passing game, Arkansas and Kendall Briles consistently, they need to be in 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5, maybe even better. And when they're being put in 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13, because one of the big things with Arkansas's offense is KJ Jefferson's ability to run the ball, whether it be through his own read, a straight up QB power, because he's so big. He's a big lad. That goes away when it becomes 2nd and 12. They can't do that. Maybe they can run like a rocket screen to Sanders, something like that. But when KJ Jefferson has to stand back in the pocket and throw the ball, just not quite there. Didn't take the step I think we all thought he might coming into the season. But I'm happy I have live stats because having full stats is amazing. Alabama, though, Reichert missed a field goal. I could have put the game 17-0 at the time. They tried keeping Arkansas in it early, and Arkansas just, nah. But while we talked about the kicking, guys, this is Mark Rogers TV. I'm thankful I get to do this, talk to you guys. We have channels basically for any team you can think of that matters, that people fan of. Nebraska, who's a horrible. Florida, USC, Oklahoma, who had a brutal game today. A lot of teams out there we have pages for. SEC, we have an SEC page, which some of you are watching on right now. Subscribe to these channels, like the videos. There's a lot of great people making great content that are just like me or just like you. They just want to talk college football. It's not a crime. And then follow the main channel, Mark Rogers, at the Voice of College Football. He's the one that lets us all do this. He puts in a lot of work. If you want to donate to the channel, you absolutely can. Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Mark Rogers TV. We do have some Amazon stuff. You can go to Mark's channel, look at that. Join our Discord. Sign up at the Patreon. It's just a bunch of college football nuts talking college football all day. Is there anybody that wouldn't want to do that? I'm sure everybody wants to just talk college football all day. I talk to myself in the shower about college football. That's how crazy I am. More importantly than that, with you guys in this video, leave your comments, leave your thoughts. Actually, most importantly, follow me on Twitter at PsychoZ50. You can see all my insane ramblings and the stuff that makes me not have any friends. Just kidding. I'm about to go eat dinner with friends. But yeah, leave your comments, leave your thoughts. What disappointed you about this game? And don't say Bryce Young's injury. That's obviously number one. because Bryce Young going out could change not only Alabama's season, but college football. We'll see how some of these guys look in his absence. I don't know if Ty Simpson will get a package, and Milroe will have a package. It's all really going to depend on what Nick and Bill O'Brien want to do. Bill O'Brien, I thought, called a really good game today before Bryce Young went out. And when you have to put in your backup, I don't really expect you to have a great game plan because you weren't planning for that quarterback. You're planning for your starter. And I thought he had a great plan. He was cooking Barry Odom, and Bryce Young goes out and the offense kind of stalls when they weren't given short fields until the end of the game when they were just getting explosive run after explosive run after explosive run. But what's your biggest takeaway? What's your biggest disappointment? And what's your biggest takeaway? For me, the biggest takeaway is if Bryce Young plays, we're starting to see a receiver core form, and they still don't have Tyler Harrell. We're starting to see one form. Last week, Ja'Cory Brooks was the breakout star. He had a great game. Prentice today had a great game until Bryce Young went out. Bond had a couple big plays. Jermaine Burton's was solid. He kind of seems like the safety underneath option. But I think that'd be my biggest takeaway is before the Bryce Young injury and after last week's game, it's really seeming to come like Alabama's receiving core starting to come together a little bit. Still got some work to do, and it's still not going to be as good as last year when you had, a Biletnikoff favorite. But it's getting there. It's getting there. Yeah, drop a comment, like the video. What a crazy day of college football we have so far. Texas A&M has ruined all momentum for that game next week. Am I right? I mean, they've lost 2 now. And so that what everyone thought might be the game of the year after the explosiveness between Jimbo and Nick in the offseason, now kind of just another game for Alabama at home because Texas A&M decided we're not going to score points. So if Bryce Young can't play next week, can Jaden Milroe get 21 points against that A&M defense? Can the Alabama special teams? McKinstry looks like he's going to take a punt back every time he gets it. It's absurd. Yeah, he had three punt returns today for 75 yards. One was for 45 yards. So the other two for 30 still. It just feels like every time he receives a punt, has a chance to really take one back to the house. Can he get one? That's going to be the important thing for Alabama next week is can they find a touchdown somewhere that's not offense to stay in the game? Or not stay in the game, to put A&M away. Because A&M, I don't think, could put up 21 points against Alabama. They haven't put up 21 points against anybody. Offensively, they had the one defensive touchdown last week against Arkansas, but they haven't. Their offense has been brutal. So, how can Alabama manufacture points to get away from A&M? They should win next week, Milroe or Young. They should. But it'll be interesting. I'm pretty excited for that game. I have a wedding, and I'll do this, and it'll be fine. But yeah, leave your comments. What do you guys think? I'm curious to hear from you guys, from the Alabama fans. If there's any Arkansas fans, since we are doing this also on the SEC's page, what you guys think about this afternoon's matchup between these two teams. I mean, I don't have really much left to say. I mean, I'll be here for a little bit while longer, but I think we've hit the points that we've wanted to hit. Bill O'Brien called a great game in the first half. The Alabama running game, wasn't great in the first quarter, but it wasn't built to be. It was built to keep Arkansas playing the way it was, which is walking up a safety, and you guys aren't going to beat us through your run game. That left one-on-one match. They're not going to beat you with the run game, and your receivers that have struggled all year are going to go one-on-one. And Alabama's receivers won those one-on-ones until Bryce went out, and then Milroe comes in. Milroe, not a great thrower. It didn't really matter. The big thing that I will say Jaden Milroe did is he didn't make any mistakes, which was important. He didn't make like a stupid fumble or anything like that. He just played his game. They called his game, and it worked out. They just kept running the ball, wearing down that Arkansas front, and in the fourth quarter, it showed. As we've had multiple people mention already, fourth quarter, that offensive line was moving people, especially on that right side. They were moving people. And Gibbs is good enough, and Milroe's a talented enough runner. Just go. Get the hole and go. Absurd they have that level of talent in their backups. And Gibbs has been a huge improvement for them. God, I'm itchy. But what do you guys want to talk about? There's a lot of things we could talk about with this game or next week or A&M. But it's up to you guys to dictate the conversation, because I can ramble all day if you want. But no one wants to hear me ramble. Least of all my friends who we're going out to dinner soon. I'm going to beat them. And if you're in here, guys, I'll see you soon. We'll get the wings. I'm too funny. What did you guys think of Jalen Milroe's play, Bryce Young's play, the wide receiver, Jahmyr Gibbs, the defense, which looked really good and then really started to struggle? I've got live stats pulled up. Yeah, because I got the Arkansas drive chart. Touchdown, punt at the end of the half, and then they punted. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown, 3 straight scoring drives, and then they kicked another field goal. Ugh. I don't like field goals, especially when you're playing a team like Alabama. But I think the game was pretty out of reach at that point, so it didn't really matter. Big dog back there. Just looking around the SEC again real quick. Auburn's up 2 scores on LSU, which I can say I expected. Ole Miss beat Kentucky in a game. Ole Miss won, but Kentucky's just got to feel stupid for losing that game. Alabama wins, and Texas A&M wins. Yeah, field goal. It was 42-23. I mean, you kick the field goal, make it into a 2-possession game, but at that point, we were halfway through the fourth, and probably not. They got KJ out of there, which is probably a good thing. Put in Fortin, because when the game gets out of hand like that, it's a 2-score game with such little time left. With KJ's playing style, you don't want to get him hurt. That's just pointless. Of your starting quarterback hurt. Arkansas is, they're not going to win the West. They still got a pretty tough schedule moving forward. The key for them is just going to be getting momentum. Don't lose a stupid game. Win the ones you should. Win your home games and have a good season. Get to 9-3, maybe even better. That loss last week is going to haunt them. And for Alabama, the push for a rematch with Georgia in the SEC championship game is still very much alive. And secret, it's going to be alive all year, because those are the 2 best teams in the country. Some people want to throw Ohio State in there. Fine. That's fine. Not gonna complain about that too much. But man, what a crazy swing of emotions for Alabama fans. I am sure, going from woo to oh god to oh god to woo. Lighthearted, but man, like Bryce Young's injury is it could loom large. It was obvious it was his shoulder. He was diving, he was trying to make a throw, he hit his shoulder. And then the next throw, let's see if there's an update actually. I used to like doing this with the AC sprain. Saban doesn't believe, this is from Brett McMurphy on the Action Network. Saban doesn't believe injury is serious and he should be okay. Good news. So even if he can't go next week, I think Alabama will be fine. But if he can go in 2 weeks, they're going to need him against like Tennessee. I think Milroe could get him past Bama or Texas A&M, but I don't think he could get him past Tennessee or some of these other games they got coming up. But if no one has anything else to say, I think I'm going to log off for the night. Thank you guys all for being here. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Subscribe to all the channels. Subscribe to Mark Rogers. He's supposed to tremendous work. Mark, if you're watching this, thanks for letting me do it. This is awesome. Mizzou just took a 3-0 lead on Georgia. Stop the count. But yeah, any lasting comments or thoughts you guys have on the game, drop them in the comment real quick, and we'll reach those while I'm wrapping this up. Follow me on Twitter at PsychoZ50. And you see my retweets and my nonsense tweets that people don't like, unfortunately. I think I'm funny. My mom thinks I'm funny. But yeah, any last comments, questions, anything you guys want to talk about with this game? All righty. Thought I'd ask because there's a lot I talked about and covered in this video for 30 minutes. Make sure I didn't miss anything that you guys wanted to talk about. Thank you so much for being here. Roll Tide, and we'll talk to you next week for a big one against Texas A&M.